And hopefully that is recording. Yes, you're recording this meeting. Be sure to let everyone know that they are being recorded. You're being recorded. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi. I am really excited that you guys made it to a 7 o'clock meeting for this. I thought I better get ahead of all the questions that you guys are have and can't really ask or don't know to ask. So I want to talk a little bit about the topic paper. I want to talk about the rhetorical situation contest because I'm literally giving away points at this point. And if you guys have any questions about your upcoming journal, the fiction journal, which is due on Tuesday. So those are what we're going to talk about in that order. I have examples of topic papers from the past. I literally just pulled them like 10 minutes ago because I just realized, oh, I don't have an example to show you. So I pulled last semester's topic papers, like 4 of them. And the reason why I picked 4 is really because you guys determine what the structure is. So I'm not even giving you a structure. I'm giving you a structure of a thesis that you could use, but it's really going to be up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and let me see if I can open up a class here. By the way, if you're in class 2005, I've just finished all your journals like 15 minutes ago. Well, 20 minutes ago. I finished them 20 minutes ago. Um, and if you're in 2007, I get to touch them tomorrow. So it's coming soon and quickly.
Wait, what journal?
Um, the journal I just graded is the poetry journal.
Oh, okay.
The journal that's due is the fiction journal.
Oh, I know. I'm almost done.
Yes. And then I'll be asking for questions. If you have any questions on it, or if you want me to see something, we'll be able to do that during this meeting as well. All right, so let me go ahead and do a screen share here. Let me do a screen share. Oh my gosh, I have 10,000 PowerPoints in here. And I think that's all y'all stuff. Okay, so let's look at the assignment sheet first. Yeah?
Okay.
So I'm going to, can you guys see my, can you guys see, my speakers aren't working. Again? Why? Weird. Weird. That's just weird. Okay. All right. So can you guys see my Chrome? Can you see like the assignment sheet? Just
Yes.
up or down? Do a thumbs up. Thumbs up. Okay. For some reason, like my headphones aren't working. I don't know. Maybe I just do it without it. How about that? All right. Because I want to be able to hear you guys. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You can still hear me.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on. That's ticking me off a little bit. Okay. All right. So let's just go to Chrome. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box because I may not be able to hear you. Okay. So let's go here. All right. So I'm not going to read it all to you. Pretty much, let me hit the big things. The big things are that you've got to pick one of the essays and one of the poems to talk about in this paper, okay? So you can pick either Letter from Birmingham Jail or The Social Shaming of Racists is Working, one of those, and pick either Claims, Inheritance, or Legacies. So one essay, one poem. And so what you're going to discuss in this poem and essay type of in this essay is that you want to talk about maybe the argument that they're making and how they're making it, the topic that they're discussing, and the big picture part of that topic happening. You want to discuss it and really how they relate to each other. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not a compare and contrast essay at all. Literally, it says this is not a compare and contrast essay. You're not going to declare who did it better. That is not the point. The point is to discuss. Oh, I can hear you guys. I have no idea what just happened, but I can hear you. So the whole point is not to discuss which one's better or compare and contrast. The whole point is to discuss how they're both talking about a similar topic or a similar argument. Literally, a glorified journal. So if you've done your journal, you've done them well, and most of you have, this is not going to be. In fact, if you want to pick.
You're kind of cutting off.
Am I cutting off?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a faint echo.
Oh. Let me try my AirPods again. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, is there an echo?
No.
No.
Okay. All right. So this is literally a glorified journal. If you wanted to pick the same thing that you picked for your journals, like the same essay or the same poem, you can, right? So this is supposed to be a pretty like low stress type of thing.
Question.
Answer.
So no matter which poem or letter you choose, or story you choose, they should relate to each other in some way. They should share a topic.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm going to show you a couple of examples here. Custom setups. Still tinkering with this. Okay. All right. Okay. I don't know what's going on, but it is Mercury retrograde, so things will not work as they're supposed to. And it's still telling me my speakers aren't working. Okay, I'm just going to ignore it and keep going. So again, if you can't hear me, put your questions in the text box, because apparently my speakers aren't working. I don't know. So I give you two possible structures for the thesis, okay? Really think about these structures and what they're accomplishing, okay? So first example, literally tell you to insert the title here and insert the it's seriously like that basic. So say you're going to do Letter from Birmingham by Dr. Martin Luther King and Claims by Judith Ortiz Cofer. Both write a topic of freedom. The writers do this by using what three devices you think they're using, right? So that's number one. That's one, okay? One possible way to write this thesis. The second possible way to write this thesis is by discussing context and topic. So, for example, you can write both Letter from Birmingham Jail by Dr. King and Claims by Judith Ortiz Cofer have the same, whatever the context is. So the same context. Maybe they were both written during the civil rights movement. I don't think they are, but let's just say that's it, what it is. Therefore, they discuss the topic of responsibility. Whatever you want, whatever you think the topic could be, okay? So here's the difference between these two theses. The first thesis suggests that there's going to be 3 body paragraphs. Very basic. If you know about the 5-paragraph structure, these things right here, metaphor, audience, and rhythm, or whatever other literary devices you use. That means that one paragraph is going to be for that first device, and you're going to talk about king, then you're going to talk about Kofor. Next body paragraph is about audience or whatever the literary device is, king, then Kofor. Then the last one, that device, king, then Kofor. 3 body paragraphs. Then an intro and a conclusion, 5 bodies. 5 paragraphs total. That's the total of the paper. If you do the second one, this suggests that there's going to be 2 body paragraphs, but they're going to be long. That means you're going to talk about king first, and you're going to write everything you're going to write, and then you're going to write about Kofor second. Write everything you're going to write. 2 huge body paragraphs, 1 intro, 1 conclusion, which means 4 paragraphs total. Okay? You guys get to decide the structure, how things flow, but they have to flow. And your thesis has to reflect your flow. Okay? Any questions so far?
I have a question. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh,
I have a
fantastic.
question.
Okay.
For if I were to pick the first one, the body paragraphs, we don't have to write about the topic. We have to write about what the writer uses, like metaphor, audience, and rhythm.
Yes. However, you're talking about how the metaphor, audience, and rhythm establish the topic. Right? So like if you're talking about, say, Kofor, right? Kofor, everybody loves that poem, right? Because there's a lot to work with in that poem. So the Kofor poem, if you remember, she had this huge metaphor about shipwrecked babies and the idea of like these babies being lost in water. And you can, if your topic, say, is freedom, right? You can say she talks about freedom and the loss of that freedom as babies are being shipwrecked in her waters, right? She's using this metaphor to do so. That's how you tie it back to the topic, right? And again, metaphor, audience, topic, metaphor, audience, and rhythm, they're just examples. You can use whatever literary device you want. This is why the rhetorical situation is so important, why I've been harping on it this entire time. Because if you've done a rhetorical situation and you've done it well, this paper is going to fly by. If you didn't do it well, this is going to be a really hard paper to write. Dun, dun, dun. Make sense?
Oh, yes, it does.
Anyone else has another question? I have a little indication that there's something in the chat box. Let's see. You know what I should have done? I should have restarted my computer before getting on here. That's what I should have done, but I did not. So I've been working hard today. Okay, if there was something in the chat box, I don't see it. If you had something in there, could you say what it is? Oh, no, here it is.
I
Sorry.
can read it to you. Oh.
Bianca, you said something. For sample 1, we only use metaphor, audience, and them, right? No, you can use whatever literary devices you want. Those are just examples. So anything you want.
Simile, like those personification. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Like,
okay.
Literary devices, guys.
I can't hear you. You're going. I can't hear you. I couldn't hear a word you just said.
Yeah. I can't understand.
No.
I hear you either.
I can hear everybody else, but not her.
Okay. Can you hear? I can hear you now. Now, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Guys, I have no idea what's going on with my audio, but it's literally the third day of Mercury retrograde, and if you know any stuff doesn't.
You
Oh,
just went away again.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
I think it's this thing. Okay. All right. Well, this is interesting and new. Let's do this. Okay. How's that?
Better.
Good.
We're gonna make it work. Okay. So I have here, Brian. You said you're a little nervous about writing this paper. Don't be nervous. You have this, right? Um, my suggestion is, let me stop sharing so I can see you guys. My suggestion is to start writing now, even though you have a fiction journal to do. Like by now, you should be able to get this done. Yeah, Bianca, you absolutely can. If you want to communicate here, I probably won't communicate through here. Because I literally cannot deal with one more thing I have to keep track of. But if you guys wanted to communicate and maybe like, oh, could you read this or what do you think about this? Go for it. Okay. Um, so, and yes, you can always make appointments with me. Like, y'all, office hours sort of thing. And y'all can always like make appointments. So there you go. Um, I want to do a write-in soon. Um, Actually, I want to do it next Thursday, but I don't know. You guys let me know if you guys want to do a write-in and when you want to do the write-in. All right. I want to show you some examples here. And I pulled a couple of them. So I'm just going to pick a couple at random. All right. Can y'all see this Word document here? Yes? No? Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to go through the thesis of it first. Okay. So I literally just pulled like a couple of them. I picked the ones that made a 95 or above. So these are A papers. And we're going to look at these theses and see kind of what they're going to be. So the thesis should always be the last sentence of your intro paragraph. And your intro paragraph needs to be more than 3 sentences. If your intro paragraphs are 5 sentences or less, I'm going to be really upset. Because literally the intro establishes what the paper is going to be. And so this is why I say you should write it last. You should write your intro last, because you don't know what you're going to write until you write it. And after you're done writing it, you can then think about how you kind of want to introduce it, how do you want to approach it. Think of the intros like the first 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes of a movie, right? The first 10 to 20 minutes of a movie establishes the movie. If those first 10 to 20 minutes are horrible, what do you think what the rest of the movie is gonna be like? Right. So your intro is the first 10 to 20 minutes of the movie of your essay. All right. So let's look at this thesis. So it says these behaviors are both presented in Letters from Birmingham Jail, and we'll talk about these behaviors here. Letter from Birmingham Jail by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Heritage by Hogan, sharing the same context of racial shaming, and therefore discusses the topic of loss. All right. This particular student decided to talk about Letter from Birmingham Jail all in one paragraph and Heritage all in one paragraph. And they're going to talk about loss, how loss is placed in both of these pieces. You see how that is set up that way? So do you guys want me to read the intro so you guys get a sense of what the intro can do?
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so it says here, American history is cluttered with the memories of social inequality. From the Catholics' mistreatment of converting the Native American Indians to believe in a new God besides their own, to the slave trade forcing African Americans out of their homelands to labor in the delusional heat and humidity of foreign cotton plantations by the Caucasians. These various cultures within the confines of the U.S. borderlands have encountered numerous types of injustice against their ethnicity. Such inequalities have spurred tensions between many parties across American soil, creating insecurities as a result of social shaming and disconnect between people groups. These behaviors are presented in Letter from Birmingham Jail and Heritage, sharing the same context of racial shaming, and therefore discusses the topic of loss. So, did you guys get a sense in that intro what this paper is going to do, where it's going to go? Yes, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think this paper is going to do?
It's gonna talk about racial shaming,
It is going to talk about racial shaming.
and it's gonna back up the points of each story.
It is. Absolutely is. And that's exactly what it does. So here's the thing about the intro and especially the thesis. And I say this, and this is my example. Say that you are giving away a car. And you're gonna tell somebody, hey, I'm gonna give you a Toyota Tundra. Like, it's beautiful, it's silver, it's got leather seats in it. I'm even gonna throw in a full tank of gas, right? And like that person's excited. They're excited for their Tundra. Maybe they're a big fan of the Tundra, or maybe they're just a big fan of getting a free truck. Fine. But then, what happens if you give them the keys to a Yaris instead of? People are going to be upset because you promised them a Tundra, but you delivered a Yaris. That is how you have to think about your intro, or have to think about your thesis. Your thesis is a promise. If you're going to deliver a Tundra, give the reader a Tundra. If you're going to give them a Yaris, give them a Yaris. But don't say you're going to deliver something and then do something. Okay? So this is essentially what this particular student does. And looking through the structure here of the body paragraph, he or she, I don't even remember who this person is anymore. Started talking. Well, let's go through the top half of this. Ever since the days of the South's cotton plantations, African Americans have been inferior to their white masters. During the 1960s, the civil rights movement led King to travel to Birmingham, Alabama. Quote, the most thoroughly segregated city in the United States, unquote, with its ugly record of brutality widely known. See how he took this straight from King, right? He or she is building up. They're building up their argument using the quotation. So King's own actions against town authorities' abuse of power led to him being taken into police custody and imprisoned. This prompted King to write this letter from Birmingham jail to inform and warn people about the current situation. You see all this that he just did?
Yes.
You know what this is called?
No.
Writer's purpose and context. See how that works? He's like putting everything together. See? So like, this is why I keep harping on it. King felt the need to counter-argue against his fellow white clergymen's opinions. Let avid court fighters realize that they must reevaluate their legal efforts and condemn those afraid of changing the status quo. King urges the readers to stop their idle habits and openly fight racism daily. King also addresses the issues of how African American hatred in America is inflicting shame towards their race. He slaps white clergymen's views on blacks, occupying their church-oriented communities, since you have been influenced by the view which argues against outside. So right here, you're starting to see that this particular student is starting to build another argument here. So they gave me a lot of context and they gave me some writer's purpose. You don't have to do that, but this person is building up to something bigger. And they have a whole paragraph because this whole paragraph is going to be about King anyway. So they have the space to do it. And this is why I think this particular student probably picked that thesis. Instead of doing the 3 paragraph body paragraphs, they decided to do 2 body paragraphs because the 2 body paragraphs would give them more space and a little bit more wiggle room to really build up an argument here. And so he starts talking about the occupying of space, right? So what is this thesis about? It's about loss. All right, so we keep talking about space. And then this space makes blacks feel lost since the townsfolk believe the social norms are being harmed by their presence. King warns that this toxic mindset programs the superior to become selfish of their turf, proving never again can we afford to live with the narrow provincial outside agitator idea. And so you start seeing, all right, he's starting to build loss in here. And so you have this idea of the inner fears and outer resentments. And he's literally he or she is putting breadcrumbs in here and saying, this is how he's building up the idea of loss. This is how he's talking about loss within the context of racial injustice. Make sense? Yes?
Yep.
No?
Yes.
Good. Let's look at another one right quick. Let me see if I can get another one in here.
And then his second paragraph will go into the Native Americans, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Bianca says, would it be hard to do heritage and social shaming? No, actually, it wouldn't be hard. And I think one of these examples did it. Let me see if I can actually get that one.
Can you post these examples on D2L?
I can, and I will.
Score.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which one is the one that had the one with heritage and social shame. I am just gonna pick this random one and hope that's it. How about that? How about that? Let's see if that works.
I can only see half of it.
Oh, that's because it's just now shared. Can you see it now?
No.
No?
Only half of it shows.
Really? I'm about that. Oh, you know what? Here's why. Because There's something else on top of it. How about that?
No.
No.
Yeah, I can see it.
It's probably just mine. There.
There? Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. This one uses claims and Dr. King. Sorry. I wish this one. Which one is this one? Let me see if I can find that one. Okay. This is claims and Dr. King. So let's look at the thesis. Here. Claims by Coffer and Letter from Birmingham Jail by King both write about the topic of freedom. The writers do this by using diction, metaphor, and simile. So this is one where they're going to use 3 body paragraphs. So that means they're going to talk about Coffer and King in the same paragraph. Now, this one did something that I don't like. So let me show you what they did that I did not like. So there's talked about diction, which is correct, right? So if you're going to talk about these 3 things, you're going to talk about them in this order. This is the example I told you about the Tundra versus the Yaris. This thesis is saying, I'm going to talk about these 2 stories in this order, and I'm going to talk about these 3 things in this order. So the first paragraph needs to be about diction. And this topic sentence tells me it's going to be about diction. But the second sentence tells me they talked about King first rather than Coffer. That's a pet peeve of mine. Don't do that. If you list Coffer first, write about Coffer first. If you list Giovanni first, talk about Giovanni first. If you list King first, then talk about King first, right? You want it, that's the whole idea of the structure. You want the structure to be in an order. Okay, so.
What this person did in this one is they named claims first, but then they're first talking about letters from burning jail, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and you don't want that. You want.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, I want it. If you're going to list whatever you list first, if it's the poem or the essay, that's what you do first.
Okay.
All right. Because that's just good form. And there's not, when you're doing a structure of an essay, where you want to have fun with, it's not necessarily the structure, because the structure is the one thing that the reader can hang on to. So where the fun part happens is literally how you word things, how you approach an example, right? A lot of people, a lot of students in particular, like to have fun. They want to have fun with the essays, and so they try a bunch of different things. And I'm fine with you guys, exploring things. The only thing that I'm going to say is what makes a reader understand something versus being completely confused is that you have to give the reader at least one thing that they can hold on to. You have to give them a life raft of some sort, right? And so one very easy life raft is the structure. As long as the reader can hold on to the structure, they will follow you through anything. So if you keep the structure consistent, everything else you can play with, right? You can play with how you word things. You can play with the examples. You can play with like how you're going to put together your argument, i.e. reasoning. That's what it means. The order of which you put together your argument is called reasoning. So you can play with all that, but as long as your structure is solid, you can do whatever you want, almost whatever you want. If it's not solid, like that's a 50. Like I don't have time for that. So let's look at this. All right. So it says here, yeah, I already read that too. So let's look at their body paragraph here. To start off, both pieces use diction to discuss the topic, which is freedom. As King addresses clergymen and others that he felt contributed to discrimination, King's letter from Birmingham Jail, which is redundant, by the way. Don't do this. It's redundant. Confronts the harsh reality people of color go through. King addresses the action of the police department. If you were to watch them push and curse old Negro women and young Negro girls, if you were to see them slap and kick old Negro men and young boys, if you were to observe them as they did 2 occasions, refuse to give us food because we wanted to sing our grace together. So he's using this example as fiction. It really isn't diction, it's repetition, but I gave it to him. So the repetition of if you were to adds to tone in the message as angry, therefore becoming more impactful. This diction is important because it motivated those reading to take action for equal rights. Then you have a transition. Coper's poem, Claim, focuses on a mother's struggle for kids, individuality, and regret. Near the bottom of this poem, the grandmother is finally reclaiming back her territory. The use of the word territory gives the reader knowledge that the grandmother is taking back what belongs to her, her life. This diction ties into freedom because the protagonist is finally able to focus on herself and is unconfined from expectations and gender roles. That's an awesome paragraph. I think I read that paragraph and did attempt to do a back. I can't go back to it, but I attempted. It was not pretty, but this is a nice paragraph. It's a pretty paragraph, right? It is not a paragraph that. It's not a paragraph that I have to like try to chase things down. They told me exactly what needed to be done. They gave me an example. They explained their example. They did a transition to the next thing. They transitioned into the quote. They told me this particular word or this particular phrase is the diction that I'm talking about, and this is what it means, and there it is. Make sense?
Yes.
So you see how both structures have pluses and minuses, right?
Mm-hmm.
One is a very good structure if you're super like I need to get this done, and 1, 2, 3 ABC, and that's the first one with like the 3 things, the 3 literary devices you're going to use. Very heavy on the structure. The other one where you have 2 body paragraphs is a little bit loosey goosey. It gives you more room to build up your argument. So it just depends on what you do. It depends on how you're interpreting these pieces and how good your rhetorical situation is. Make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
Do you guys have any questions? Does this clear it up?
Let me think.
Thinking is good. I like thinking.
Okay. So you're saying if we pick the first one and the second one, the first one we have to have 5 paragraphs versus the second one we only have to have 4, but it gives us more room to build up the argument, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Either one is fine. Again, the structure is going to either make the structure and the thesis is going to make or break you up. Well, 3 things will make or break. 1, the structure. 2nd, the thesis. 3rd, how well you did the rhetorical situation. Because here's the thing, there's no place to hide in this paper. If you didn't do it well or didn't do it well the first time, you have a second chance to do it well the second time. If you still didn't do it well, I'll be able to tell that you just flew through it or you didn't understand or whatever. The whole process of this paper also is very open to asking questions. Like if you wanted to ask questions through the process of writing this paper, ask the question. It's better to ask the question and me just say, okay, let's go through writer's purpose again, rather than you attempting to put writer's purpose on there and it's not working, right? So ask the question. And for those who are watching the recording, ask the question. Any other questions? Does this clarify it?
Yes. Helps a
Good.
lot.
Good.
Yes.
I think
If
once
I
you
have
understand,
any, I'll
go ahead.
ask you. No, if I have more, I'll ask you before the meeting ends.
For sure. Thank you. This is a paper. This could be an easy paper.
Yeah, for sure.
This could be an easy paper. Grammarly is good. I'm never going to say not use Grammarly. Use Grammarly. Use the writing lab. Ask questions. Right? You do have to do MLA on this. It's a full MLA, so you are going to have a works cited. The only works cited that you're going to have for this paper are the two pieces you're talking about. Don't use any outside sources. So there's only two sources you're using.
That's what I was about to ask you.
See,
That-
I knew. We're here.
that-
We're here.
If we could like back up like our paragraphs with history, that happened.
No. You can use like the first one used a lot of like history, but it's like stuff that people already knew. So it's like, that slavery happened. Slavery was a thing. Cotton plantations happened. Cotton plantations were a thing. So it's like it's basic general knowledge, right?
Okay.
So you don't have to like go to like the databases and look up slavery or civil rights or whatever. No, you do not have to pay for the writing lab. The writing lab is free. There's a thing called Brain Fuse. That is, I have no idea. Don't use Brain Fuse. Brain Fuse is awful. I shouldn't have said that. It's recorded. Don't use Brain Fuse. On the flyer, I think it says, if I remember correctly, there's a thing, there's like a website, and then you can make an appointment. You can make an appointment for the writing lab, and then there's some versions of the flyer that has like a second step where you can actually go to another thing that's the writing lab. It's called Brain Fuse. They don't tell you what it is. It's called Brain Fuse. And it's technically supposed to be free, but it's not really free. If they ask you to pay for it, it's not the writing lab. Writing lab is 100% free. The writing lab at Kingwood also have all my assignments too. So they know what I like. Also, and I haven't posted this yet, and I'll probably post it tomorrow, the writing lab is going to be physically open starting on Monday, but you have to make an appointment within 45 minutes. So if you wanted to, instead of doing face-to-face, if you wanted to go up to Kingwood to go to the writing lab, you could. Of course, you have to wear a mask and you have to check in, do the whole thing. But you can go to the writing lab and you can make an appointment to go. What they've told us is you've got to be on time for your writing lab appointment, because if you're late, you're not going to be able to go, because say like your appointment is at 2:00, they'll open the doors at 2:00. Maybe they close it like at 2:02 or 2:03. I don't know when they're going to close. And then at 2:45, everybody's done. They make everybody leave, and then those 15 minutes they disinfect the tutorial area, and then the people at 3:00 come in, and that's how it goes all day. So that's for your writing lab appointments, but that's also an opportunity as well. So if they ask for your credit card number, say no. Ask no. Any more questions on the paper so we can talk about the fiction journal?
No.
Okay. How are you guys doing with the fiction journal? How's that going?
Good. Really good.
Really good.
Mm-hmm. I still need the conclusion, the second body paragraph, and the yeah. Well, basically everything.
You just need to write it. That's all.
Yeah. I have one
Oh,
paragraph down.
good. 3 or 4 more to go.
Yeah.
So the thing, so what I'm seeing with the journal that I've just graded is this weird thing. It's an English thing. Let me see if I can just do another screen share, but like, let's see. Let me share that. Okay. I'm gonna share this, but I'm gonna put it at the bottom of this. So I'm seeing, come on. All right, insert page break. I'm seeing a weird thing you guys are writing, which is kind of driving me a little bit nuts. So when you guys are talking about, say, you're talking about things by Coffer, it says blah 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 whatever. You do this thing. Another version of this is in the poem Legacies by Giovanni. The poem talks about blah 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 blah. Okay, so here is a lesson in how to write like you know what you're talking about. Want to hear it? Here it goes. All right. Whenever you have something that you're going to introduce, right? Whether you're introducing it with the name and the author's name, or whether you're doing whatever you're doing, the next thing that you write about, or the next thing you write isn't the thing talks about this, or it says this. You want to say something along the lines of, so do you see the difference between, do you see the
Yes.
difference between this and this, right? This is very wordy, very chatty. It also comes off to the reader, i.e. me being the reader and the creator, comes off like you're not quite sure what you're going to say next. This talks to me about like, oh, you know what you're going to talk about. You've dreamt about this. You have planned this out. You are that good. And so therefore you get a good grade. See how that works? Something like this, if you were going to write claims by Kofer, you can say in Kofer's poem, there is the use of metaphors, whatever, okay? So rather than say, it says this, or it's about this, because that phrase kept coming up over and over again in your papers, and it was interesting. Let me see if I can get another exact one. I'm not gonna call anybody out, I promise, because that is not cool. But, let's see, who did something like that? Let's see. Something like, it's called inheritance. That's what it's called. Okay. So do you see the issue here? In the poem Inheritance written by Hogan, it talks about being two things at the same time. Do you see how wordy that is, or how it feels kind of like you're holding your breath a little bit? That's kind of how it feels in my head. And I know that this is something that you guys kind of do, and kind of how you talk, how you speak with, but I'm trying to get y'all up here, right? And so what you want to do, instead of saying in the poem written by this one, it talks about this, right? You want to say something like that top one. Say in Inheritance. So you don't have to say poem, because guess what? I'm the reader and I kind of know it's a poem because I assigned it to you and I read it and I taught it to you. So kind of know it's a poem. In Inheritance. You don't even have to tell me who it's written by, because again, hi. In Inheritance, the writer discusses about duality. See how that's a shorter sentence and it's a more direct sentence? Which one do you think is a much better written sentence? The top one or the bottom?
The second one.
Yeah. So let me empower you guys to look at those sentences, and those usually happen for you guys, this class specifically, or the 2005 class specifically. It's happening as your topic sentences. Yeah, as far as it's happening in your topic sentences for each thing that you talk about. So it's happening at least twice in a journal. So if you're talking about, say you're talking about Spider the Artist, right? And maybe it's a body paragraph and it's the first one. Also, by the way, it's in quotations. Sorry. I have a new keyboard. I'm trying to learn it. In depth is 2 words. See how that works? Instead of saying in Spider the Artist, written by, spoken for, it talks about blah, blah, blah. Yes? Makes sense? Am I just beating a dead horse at this point?
It makes.
Yes. Bianca
Yes.
asked. Cool. Good. Bianca asked, do we have to create our own title? Yes. For everything you write in this class, you create your own title. Do not give me a title that says topic paper or fiction journal. It's the quickest way to get on my nerves. No, the quickest way to get on my nerves is to spell my name with an H. My name is Fernandez, not Hernandez. That's the quickest way to get on my nerves. Because it's on the syllabus, guys. I signed every email with my last name. Okay. Do you guys have any questions about anything else? I've been on here for an hour now. I think you guys got it.
No.
You don't got it?
Oh no, I do got it. I do.
Good. All right.
It's a lot to process, but I think I got it.
Good. Really, the topic paper is a journal on steroids, which is why I've been harping on the journals for a while, why I've been harping on the rhetorical situation for a while, because if you can get that, this paper is going to be a breeze. Bianca has a non-related question. Do you want to go ahead and type your non-related question and I can answer it with a non-related answer?
I have another question. How many more journals do we have to write?
You write journals the entire semester.
Good thing is we're halfway done.
Well, you've only written 3 journals. You've only written 3 journals, and you've written like one every 2 weeks or one every 3 weeks. It gets worse. I'm not even going to tell you. Oh, then it gets worse. It's going to be easier to
or
this semester.
Or 1303.
Oh no, there's no 1303. Bless your heart. No, there's not.
There's
like literature. There's literatures, and if you wait till fall, you can take Mexican American literature with me. No, it gets worse in that you will be expected to write a journal in a week, not like 2 weeks. Like how
Oh, that's not that bad. I think I got it.
Like that's another reason why I've been harping on it is because like you need to be able to get these really, really quick. So in the second half, you will have more to read, which means you'll have more to choose from. But they need to be done in a week. So how like you've had 2 weeks for fiction, you've had 2 weeks for poetry, 2 weeks in a week. So as you read, you should be thinking about rhetorical situation. You should be thinking, okay, this is kind of what I'm going to do. Just start working on it. So get ready. It's my favorite part. The second part's my favorite part because then I stop talking about it since you can just actually enjoy literature. Let's see. I was talking to a classmate and she mentioned about showing up to class on the 22nd, so I have to show up. Bianca, are you in 2007? I don't think you're in I think you're in 2005. Oh no, you're in 2007. You're in 2007. So 2007 is technically a hybrid class. It is not an online class. Oh, you're in 05. You're in 05. 05, you're chill. You don't have to do anything. But if you're in 2007, section 2007, it is technically a hybrid class. And so the October 22nd is when we would meet at 10 a.m. anyway for our bi-weekly teams meeting. So that's when I'm meeting with those who are in hybrid. If they are in 2007, everyone's gotten a link to sign up. The room only fits 9 people plus 1 professor, so 10 people total. I have already had the 9 people who signed up already. So actually 8 people. I have a space for 1 more person. So, and that's all that signed up. So
where do you have to check in?
You can check in at the SCC or CLA. It'll be my first time checking in, so I don't know the process personally. I just know I've seen it described.
I don't really know the Kingwood.
The Kingwood thing? Okay,
campus. So I don't know what buildings those are.
Okay, so where do you know where you're going on campus? So I can tell you which one is closest.
Well, I went to Kingwood last semester, but it's my first semester, and I just went to the science building, so okay. I know where that's at. Okay. I know where the library is.
Do you know where you're... Okay. Are you coming to class on the 22nd?
I don't know. Well, I mean, you still have a spot open, so
just Are you in 2007?
Yes.
Okay. Brad, get on the link and sign up. Because if you're not on my list, I'm not going to let you into the classroom. So sign up in the link that I sent out. So this is how you'll get there. The easiest way is to park in CLA. And there's only 2 parking lots you can park in. Mm-hmm. Parking lot, I think it's parking lot C. I think it's what they call it. I think it's parking lot C, and it's right across the street from CLA. It will look like it's the official, like where you officially go onto campus. And it used to be where that used to be the building where you actually would enter campus. And now,
Where
changed to SCC. But it's on.
where you buy the textbooks?
Royston? No, the other one. It is, if you are, you know where the library is and where the science. It's across from the library. You know when you're coming out the library, and here's the library, here's the health science building, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see this building across the way. There's nice trees, and this building across the way.
Sure.
Sure. Okay. This literally.
Let me just look at the map, and then I'll figure it out.
It's across the way. You check in there, but our classroom is in CLB. It's the building right next door.
Okay.
That's where the counselor is.
That's where you're what?
Counselor or teaching?
Yeah. So CLB, if you're coming out of the library and you're going down the covered walkway, you turn right to the covered walkway, and you take that path. It just leads you straight into CLB. I'll send you a map. I'll just send you a map. But make sure you sign up first, because I have one more space. Brian, I don't know if technical communications is difficult. I've never taught it, and I've never been in a class. But I know that the professor who teaches it is pretty cool. So, if that's helpful. Does anyone have any other questions? Oh, I think I had one. I was talking to a classmate. Oh, I just answered it. Britlit. Yes, Britlit will drive you crazy. It drove me crazy at your age. But what's cool about Britlit is like the later stuff, when you're talking about like Beowulf and all that. It's like, why Chaucer, why? But you get a little bit later, and you start talking about like Mary Shelley, you start talking about Frankenstein, you start talking about like all that stuff. It's a lot better. American Lit, I know who teaches American Lit, and she's pretty dope too. It depends on what branch of American Lit. So I can't really tell you. Zora Neale Hurston's cool. Mark Twain's cool. Edgar Allan Poe is cool. I like Edgar Allan Poe. So yeah. You guys have any more questions? Oh, rhetorical situation contest. Y'all should do that, because I'm giving away points. Joan Samuelson teaches British Lit. Cindy, Professor Baker teaches British Lit. Not British Lit, American Lit. Samuelson teaches Brit. And she teaches Brit online, I think. Sorry, did you have a question?
No.
Okay. Bianca, yes, I have not seen Lovecraft Country. I've heard it's really good. I'm waiting till it's all done, because I want to see it all in one go. Because I kind of feel like it's one of those shows that I'm going to be angry that I have to wait a week to watch it again. So I'm not watching it till it's all done. But I have heard nothing but good things. All of my friends are just like, oh my God, this show. And yes, it is very Afrofuturistic. Very good in using the correct terms. Any other questions? Related, not related?
I think we're good. I mean, I'm good. Thank you so much. You cleared up a lot, and I'm ready to get to work.
Well, get to work. Let me know if you guys need any help. Again, I don't know if we're gonna do a write-in or not. But my office hours are here for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, y'all stop talking so I can make this end.